Oh, I'm a gummy bear. Yes, I'm a gummy bear. Oh, I'm a yummy, tummy, funny, lucky gummy bear.
I wonder what we're having for dinner tonight. I wonder. Got me. Okay, guys, any guesses what I might be making for dinner? Gee, I don't know. Jalapenos, onion, zesty tomato. I don't know. Well, stay tuned and you're gonna find out. So in one pan you're gonna have your ground beef, and that is ground turkey right there. And then in another pan we're going to start our beans. So I'll show you what I do with the beans before, yes, my hands are wet, before we start that process. Okay, so as you can see, I have the water running here, and what we're gonna do is I take my black beans and I actually strain them because I do not like this juice that's, on them. So I will actually strain all of the liquid from the can out of them. Yeah, so you're just gonna strain them off, get them completely rinsed off from all of the slimy stuff that was in the can. See, I have my beans right there completely drained from all of the stuff that was in the can, and then I'm gonna add 1 can of refried beans to this. Okay, as you can see, I've added the 1 can of refried beans, and believe me, that'll cook in nicely. So we're gonna come over here and we're gonna grab some of our jalapeno pepper, and we're gonna put that in. We're also gonna add part of this can right here into that. Not very much of that though. That's mostly for the rice. And then we're gonna grab some onions here. And you can chop these as finely as you like. It's totally up to you. But anyways, I like onion, obviously, and it really does help with the flavor of these beans. So, and then there's one more ingredient. Yes, what would refried beans be without Texas Pete? That's right, we're here in Texas, and this is a Texas favorite dish. So I'm going to be adding some of this, and as you can see, I don't have very much left. I'm going to give it a few shakes and put some in there. Okay, so you can see I've added some Texas Pete's in there, and it's actually dripping down. So what I'm going to do is put a lid on this pan now, turn it on to a very low heat, and just let this slowly warm, and let the flavors marry. Okay, in another bigger, larger pan, we're going to add some of this long brown rice, because I'm going to be making Spanish rice here. So I want to kind of line the pan with it. Okay, so I've lined the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to be this is actually about 1.5 cups, maybe a little bit more than that. Something stuck to my finger. Anyways, a little bit more than that. And so I'm going to be adding some other ingredients, but first I want to brown this. So I'm going to brown this first and just make it a nice golden brown. I've just turned the heat on to a fairly high temperature for this pan right here, so we can get this browning. And I'm going to go ahead and add some of my onion and a little bit of jalapeno pepper. Okay, hopefully you can see that I've added the onion and the jalapeno pepper. So I'm just gonna brown this a little bit and kind of caramelize the onions a little. Okay, hopefully now you can see that this has actually been browned a little bit and the onions are starting to caramelize. So now it's time to add what this is what helps make it, really yummy. So this is what I like to add, and I add a whole can. I've drained these. So just add that right into the mix, and then we're going to add some water after I stir those in. Okay, so now you're looking at it that I've added 4.5 cups of water to the rice, just enough so that it'll have something to grab onto, and then we're going to add this packet of seasoning mix. Okay, so now you can tell that obviously the color has changed. So now I'm going to be putting a lid on this, and I'm going to let this simmer and cook itself. It'll take about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, something like that. But I'm going to put a lid on it, cook it for about 20 minutes, and I'll keep checking it and stirring it. Remember, this is the ground beef and turkey tubes of meat that you saw earlier. So what I'm going to be doing for this is I'm going to actually be adding 2 packages of seasoning, taco seasoning flavor, whichever you like best, and also one other secret ingredient. Let me get that. Secret ingredient. Ooh. I don't know where you find this, guys. I can't even remember where I found it, but it's great, and I'm sure a lot of Texans will recognize this. So that's going to get sprinkled before the other does. So let's get to it. So there is my sprinkling of fajita seasoning. I don't know how much that is, guys. I don't know, just to taste if you decide to use this. This stuff is pretty spicy, so woo, it'll create some heat. So now for these guys. Okay, there's the 2 packages of taco seasoning, and the reason that I use 2 packages, yes, 2, is because it's 1 package per pound of ground whatever. Mix your seasonings in very thoroughly, and then go ahead and turn your heat after you have everything mixed in really well. I added just a smidge of water, about maybe a half a cup, just a smidge. And so then you're going to want to, after you've done that, you're going to want to turn your heat up to kind of a, I don't know, not high, medium high, so that it can actually start to cook. As you can see, it's starting to actually cook now that everything's okay. You can see that it's all cooked up really good now, and so it's time to drain this excess fat off into the strainer, which you guys saw me do with the beans, and now I'm going to do it with the meat. So to strain my greasy meat, you can see the steam coming off of there, just put it in the strainer, and I just press out as much as I possibly can of the excess grease, because my thighs be thick enough. I don't need this. No sir, I got enough fat on my thighs. So we're draining off as much as we can. Okay, and just squeezing it into the strainer. So you get the gist of it. Now that it's completely drained, we're going to put a lid on it, turn it down to just a warm, so that it stays. Lucky, I got grease on my finger, ain't that pretty? Anyway, we're going to turn it down to a low heat and just keep it warm. Put a lid on it and keep it warm while these other 2 things are cooking. And them are my beans, and that's my rice. Okay, everything's completed. Your rice should be about this consistency. I like mine just a little bit. See how there's a little bit of liquid in there? That's how I like mine, because I like to dip chips and stuff in it. Then your beans should be fairly thick, like that. And your meat should be fully cooked and completely drained. Okay, the way I like to serve these up is I like to take some of my cheddar cheese, get into that. Oops. Spread some on the bottom of the tortilla shells. Not a whole lot, you know, just a little. Like that. Then I also like to add, that's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons over the soft shell. There's 1, and there's 2. And then whatever else toppings you like to put on top. This is where you can add your lettuce, tomato, whatever. Okay, so there it is. That's what we're having for dinner tonight. Okay, now, so we know there's going to be leftovers, right? So for the leftovers, what I do is I go ahead and I pre-make a bunch of these up. So what I've got on here so far on the bottom layer is 2 tablespoons of or a tablespoon and a half, whichever you prefer, of the bean mixture. Now 1 tablespoon of the beef on top of that. Now there is a tablespoon and a half of the rice mixture. Now a sprinkling of cheese on top of that, and then we'll roll them. There they are, all rolled and ready to put in whatever size container we want. And you put as many as you want in, you know, like a 1 serving size meal thing. Freeze them and they're ready for whenever you want. And they're delicious this way too when you mix all the ingredients together. I actually prefer them mixed together like this. So you'll have pre-made meals and lots of them. Enjoy, guys. Okay guys, here's the aftermath. What we have here is there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to warm up in here for another meal for 2. Then there's individual meals here. 3 are in each container, and then this stuff is for dipping. This is leftover rice, beans, and cheese, and then this is just rice, beans, and meat, and then this is just some more of the same of what you see right here. So you get quite a bit of leftovers out of that meal, and trust me, you deep freeze these in your deep freezer and you can warm them up anytime, and it's fantastic.
I want your Starbucks, girl.